I am now recording, Megan. Thank you.
Okay. Hello, and thank you so much for being here today. Happy Friday and happy almost 4th of July. I'm so excited to be here with you today and to talk about some really fun options for you to make for your upcoming Independence Day picnic or barbecue or celebration. So, my name is Megan Brown, and I partnered with American Crafts, which is where I'm coming from you today, several years ago to bring to you, my fellow at home bakers, some really awesome food crafting supplies that are available in Michael's nationwide, which is so awesome. Several years ago, I opened up my own bakery, lots of years ago, maybe even longer than some of you were born. and it's been really, really fun. And so while, yes, I own bakeries and do this professionally, I still just feel like, I'm an at-home baker with all my friends here to hang out with me today. So again, thank you for taking your time to join me today. So let's talk cupcakes. They taste amazing. They're fun to decorate. They're easy to serve. They're easy to transport, which is awesome for those of you who are also cake decorators. You know that sometimes when you make your cakes, they're a little bit sketchy to kind of transport from here to there. That's one thing that's awesome about cupcakes is they're really easy to go from here to there. People of all ages love cupcakes, right? I I think that they are one of just the best treats ever to make. And they're easy. They're easy to make. And we're going to talk just through some tips and tricks before we get into the kind of like more fun hands-on stuff. I just wanted to go over a few things with you about baking cupcakes. So I love to bake from scratch. And I know sometimes that's not always the case for some people. And um, cake mixes are readily available, at Michael's and at other places. And so if you feel more comfortable with cake mixes, no judgment, that's so great. Obviously, the recipes are really easy on the back, but there are just a few things that you can do to really enhance the flavors of, at like a store-bought cake mix. And you can just substitute them out and it'll turn that cake mix into a really rich and delicious cupcake. So one thing that I like to do is just to simply substitute the water for some milk. And I like to use whole milk, partly because I still have a baby around the house and he drinks it. So it's very convenient, but also it is richer in fat and it just gives your cake a little bit, like a richer taste and it makes it seem a little bit more homemade. The other thing that you can do simply is just add some vanilla extract to your batter. And that also just helps with that really rich, delicious flavor. Likewise, though, if you wanted to add, let's say, like a peppermint extract or lemon or orange or just any other flavor that you'd like, your cupcake to be hinted with, you can do that easily as well. One thing that I like to do, and I don't know, I don't want to say it's controversial, but I like to take like almost a full cup of sour cream, just straight up sour cream, and just add it to the mix. So add it to the batter, like once everything is wet. And that really, really helps keep it dense and helps it so it won't dry out. And then just also, again, just really enriches the flavor of the cupcake. So nothing like super earth shattering, very simple things that you can do just to kind of beef up the flavor of your, either if you're doing cake or if you're doing cupcakes. Again, just using milk, adding extracts and adding sour cream. You can even add like a pudding. Pudding really helps with similarly like to help keep it dense and just make it so they last kind of longer, the flavor lasts longer and they don't dry out as much. Okay, so that was one thing. The second thing is I feel like this is technically called a disher. Okay, this is like a portion control scoop. You might call it an ice cream scoop or a cookie scoop. You can call it whatever you want, but I promise these things are so awesome to use for so many other reasons, but especially for cupcakes. I mean, I remember being younger and reading a recipe and saying, to fill the liner like 2/3 full. And I'd get so hung up and like worried that maybe I filled it, way more than 2/3 full or not enough. And I'm not a mathematician. I'd get hung up on silly things like that. So having a portion control scoop is so awesome. Again, available at Michael's, and there's lots of different sizes. This is a 2-ounce scoop, and this is, in my opinion, just the right size for your standard cupcake liner and your standard cupcake pan. So again, it's 2 ounces, and it works like a charm because every time you scoop your batter and you put it in the liner, you have an even amount in there, and then your cupcakes come out and they look really uniform, and it's so great. I also use this just as like a random side note, but I didn't like mix any frosting to like show you live how to make frosting, but sometimes I'll even use this like to put my frosting into a pastry bag. So it's really convenient to do that. The other thing is if you have a filling that you're putting in between cake layers, same thing, you can kind of gauge your own filling kind of recipe and know, okay, on my 8-inch cakes that I'm making, I put 5 scoops of, whatever it is that you're using to fill on into the filling of the cake. So anyway, I promise you, if you invest into these, they are a low ticket luxury, and I promise I think you will be very happy with it. Okay, and then just as far as like actual baking of the cupcakes, I feel like cupcakes are so easy to bake. It's very I want you to feel encouraged when doing this, because shy of just like not hearing your buzzer go off, there's really not a lot you can do to just like potentially inconvenience yourself with the baking process. So if your oven is working properly and can be preheated to 350 degrees, then really your cupcake should take about 18 minutes to bake. And that's true of, any oven I've ever used. It's kind of like that magic sweet number, 18 minutes. And you just want to for sure make sure that your oven is at 350 degrees when you put them in. You don't need, my experience is that you don't need to rotate them. You can just plop them in, set your timer for 18 minutes, and then come back and check on them. Before you actually open the oven to check on them, you can kind of just peek into the window. And if you see that it's still kind of shiny and glistening on top, I hope that makes sense if you've baked cupcakes before, then they do need, a couple more minutes. But when that kind of shimmer goes away, that's when you know that they should be done. So when you take them out, and you can either use like a little toothpick and just poke it down into the center of the cupcake. And if it comes out clean, meaning there's no like little crumbs or batter that sticks to your toothpick, then you're good to go. And the other thing you can do is, here, I'll hold this. Granted, this obviously did not just come out of an oven, but you can just press on the top of your cupcake and see how it just bounces right back. If you can do that and there's no indentation, then you know that your cupcakes are done. As far as cooling them, I probably wait about 5 minutes to take them out of the pan. And just as soon as they're kind of cool enough to touch, I'll release them from the pan and I'll put them on a cooling rack and just give them, 20, 30 minutes or so to cool down, depending upon your room temperature. And another tip is just that you can definitely bake cupcakes ahead of time. Once they're cooled to room temperature, you can just put them in an airtight container or an airtight plastic bag and put them in your freezer, and you can decorate them different day, different time. Which is really helpful just in our busy lives, being able to kind of divvy up the work. And, maybe you only have, an hour one day to make cupcakes. You can do this part first. And then another day you can move on to frosting and decorating. So it's just something to always think about when you feel like the urge to make cupcakes. Even though you might not have time, you can definitely split up the parts of it. So those are kind of just some of my tips and tricks for baking the cupcakes and flavoring and making sure that they're done and cooling and storing them. At this point, are there any questions that I can answer before I kind of move on to the fun stuff, which is like the surprise inside of the cupcake that you guys all signed up for today? We good?
Hey, Megan. There's a couple questions regarding how much vanilla extract you add to the cupcakes and how much sour cream you would add to the batter.
Okay, so if I'm just going off of like one box mix, I would add at minimum, I personally would add a minimum of 1 tablespoon of extract. I love vanilla. I feel like it's just one of those underrated things that's so glorious. So I would do a tablespoon. Then as far as sour cream goes, I would do about a cup, just about a cup. And it really will, it'll change the way your cupcake feels. It'll be a much denser cupcake. So if you're looking for like light and airy and spongy, hold off on the sour cream for sure. But if you are kind of going for that like richer, denser experience than the sour cream, then you should be fine. I wouldn't do more than a cup. And if you're kind of like sketched out thinking like, I don't want to add like, sour cream to my cupcake. If you just want to try it like a half a cup and then just taste it after you've baked it. And if you like it and you like the consistency, then and you're happy with it, you can keep it at half a cup for your batches in the future. But if you want to like say, okay, that works, that tasted great, you can then increase it the next time you make cupcakes to a full cup and see if you like it. So I think you'll be pleasantly surprised how it turns out. So
Awesome.
okay,
thank you.
Yeah, you're so welcome. Okay, so 4th of July is literally just a couple days away. It's one of my favorite holidays. And so I'm so excited just to show you some techniques for doing this. Some people call them like pinata cupcakes, surprise cupcakes. So we're going to make, the ones that you saw on your little sign up form on michaels.com, where we're going to take out some of the cake and we're going to fill it with some tiny little treasures and we'll decorate it. And then I'll show you some other things that you can do with our meltables, which, by the way, here's a shameless plug for our candy wafers. These meltables here are exclusively available at Michaels. And if you've ever worked with these candy wafers before, then I hope you can appreciate our meltables because they are so awesome. Again, I grew up as a customer. I'm still a customer of Michaels. I mean, that's my go-to place to get all my food crafting things. And anyway, I'm just really happy to bring these to you guys because they taste amazing. They're so easy to work with. There's so many different colors and flavor options. And so I'll show you some cool decorating techniques that you can do, again, that are easy, that you can make with the meltables. So let's get to it. These little surprise cupcakes are just beyond exciting. Okay, so what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to make sure that your cupcakes are completely cooled. So, and if you did happen to make them ahead of time and they're frozen, you're going to want to bring them to room temperature. So just let them sit out for about 20 minutes or so, and then you'll be able to easily remove some of the cake. So what I have here, just because I thought maybe this was more relatable for some of you to use, but I will give you a couple different options that you can use at home. This is just a piping tip. So it's one of the bigger round tips. Okay, you can see, and I'm going to show you how to do some frosting techniques with it. But it's about, I would say that's about a half of an inch opening. And all you're going to do is kind of line it up into the center of the cupcake. And I'm just going to give it a twist as I'm going down into the cupcake. And I don't know if you can see, it's a little dark, so I'll hold it. Do you mind switching the camera angle, Jordan? And I'll show them this way. You see, as I push down, it just magically makes the cupcake come out. Here, let me show you again from this angle, if you're still at it. Okay. So you can just push it down like this. Sorry, I think our lighting's a little crazy. You just give it a twist. And then I just kind of press my finger down to kind of get some of the cake out, but it's just right in there. Okay, so that's one option. You can just use a tip. Okay, if you have like an actual apple corer that's, you know, I don't know if you've seen the kind that are just like a long tube. And essentially you can do the same thing if you happen to have a round apple corer. The other thing you can do is just take a knife, and I kind of like to do it a little bit at an angle. And I just hold my knife. You'll see I'll pretty much hold the knife steady, and I'll use my hand to twist the cupcake around. And just kind of go like this. And core it out. And if it's not deep enough, so you want to use a little bit more or have it fill a little bit more, you can just kind of take some of it out. I apologize if the lighting's a little off. It's a little dark, but here, let's do that one more time. Let's see. So again, you can just use your hand to kind of spin the cupcake around like this, and then you can just use the knife, pretty much kind of keep your knife stationary. And then once you've completed your circle, you just kind of dig it out. So there's a couple of things we can do now with our little piece of cake. Although I'm naturally inclined to pop it in my mouth and just eat it right now, I'm going to set it aside after I've just kind of cut a little bit of the pointy part off. So you're kind of left with just like this little piece of cake, because once we fill the cupcake with the delicious candies and things, we're going to kind of press this back on top before we frost it. So, okay, now that we've cored a few out, and I'll probably do a little bit more in real time, but let me just pull some of these fun things out to show you. We also have at Michael's just a bunch of sprinkle options. I know that 4th of July is just a couple days away, and I went to my local Michael's to try to get some of these last minute, and I was unsuccessful because they were sold out, which is awesome, but also like a little bit of a bummer because I'm like, I wanted to make one more last thing for our 4th of July barbecue on Sunday. But anyway, hopefully you'll be successful. They're so cute. We have these 3 different options, just some fun jimmies and nonpareils and some quins that are stars. So you can just straight up use these sprinkles right inside of your cupcake. So I'm just going to go ahead and we'll just fill them with some jimmies, right? So I just take the spoon, pop them in there. And you kind of want to leave just a little bit of, you don't want to fill it all the way to the top of the cavity that you just dug out, because we're going to come back and use our little piece of cupcake that we have and put it on top. Does that make sense? So it's like you fill it and then you cover it up just like that. Let's do a couple more. Let's see. The other thing I wanted to just point out is I believe that using smaller, tinier candies or sprinkles makes this whole kind of surprise experience a little bit better, because you can pack, the impact is a little bit better because more things will fall out, as opposed to like if you used kind of like some larger size candy, you'll only be able to fit a few in there. So candies like Nerds or mini M&Ms or just, little candy coated crispy wafer, just whatever it is that's kind of just more tiny, I think that it works better. With that said, I mean, anytime you bite into a cupcake and there's like some fun surprise in there, I don't think anyone's going to complain. I just think, again, the impact is just a little bit more when there's a bunch of things that kind of fall out or surprise you. So I just wanted to show you, these are just some like little mini baking chips and some mini dehydrated marshmallows. So you can see they're definitely small. So we'll just put some of those in there. And you kind of can press them down, make sure that they get all the way down in there. And then again, you just take your top of your cupcake and cover them up. So let's do another one from start to finish. So we've got, I'm just using the knife. Oh, and one other thing I should say, I don't really ever go like all the way down to the bottom of the cupcake. I'd say I go about 3/4 of the way down, if that makes sense, so that the candy that you put inside has somewhere to land that is cake and not just wrapper, because then when someone peels it open, it's not just going to like gush out of the bottom. So let's do these cute ones. It's kind of like a little belly button. Okay. Okay, so at this point, do we have any questions that I didn't answer? Because I'm happy to answer anything I have the answer to. But hopefully that's a little bit like self-explanatory enough.
I think we're good right now, Megan.
Okay, awesome. So the next thing I'm gonna show is just some fun frosting techniques. And you'll see here, I just made like, my favorite buttercream frosting recipe. And again, you can either buy it from the store, make it at home, just use whatever you think will go amazing with the cupcakes that you've just made. And one thing that I like to do, it's a little unconventional, but I've showed this before on a couple Zoom classes that I've done with Michael's. And that is just to use, these are disposable pastry bags. And one thing that I like to do is just use the pastry bag as, I don't know, I say as a coupler. And for those of you who decorate, I hope that resonates with you. But there is like a little gadget that you can buy, and it's some plastic pieces, and it has like a little cap, and you can screw, and you can kind of interchange your tips with different bags. I have 6 kids at home who some are watching, so hello, my little brownies. But I tend to lose parts of those. So this is something that I feel like works so great. So all I do is I just put my tip into another pastry bag, and then I have my frosting that I'm going to use in another pastry bag. So in this instance, we only have one flavor that we're using. But if you're coloring them, or if you're dyeing them, if you have different flavors, but you only have one tip, then you can easily interchangeably use the tip and just swap out your bag of frosting. So I'll show you here. I just put the frosting in the bag, and I cut my disposable pastry bag And then I just plop it in to here. And now I have, I have my big round tip that I'm using with my vanilla frosting, but I'll show you as an example. I'm also going to use this open star tip, and I'm just going to put it straight in here and cut it so that now when I go to use that, all I have to do is take out my bag of frosting and plop it in to here. So hopefully that's, a little bit helpful for some of you who might not have couplers or, lose things like I do. So, okay. So with this, with just this round, large tip, I'll show you. This is just what I consider to be like a signature swirl on a cupcake. And all I'm going to do is we're just drawing circles. And the key to piping, in my opinion, is getting to know the consistency of your frosting and to just apply equal amounts of slight pressure while you're doing so. So some frosting recipes are a bit wetter than others, and you can see if, here, let me see, do you mind zooming in real quick, just on the tip? That's okay. See if I'm just barely pushing, barely squeezing. So that's going to give me way more control, as opposed to if I get it, I'm going to plop this out. So don't be surprised if I just shoot it out. So if anything, just err on the side of like lower equal amounts of pressure until you like get to know your frosting, because you can be great friends with your frosting. So I'm gonna start at the top, and then what I do is I start about 1/4 of an inch away from the cupcake, and while I'm applying equal amounts of pressure, I'll do it slow-mo for you. I'm just gonna go around, and essentially trace the outside of the cupcake, and then once I complete a circle, I just come up a tiny little bit, and I start to do that process one more time until I complete another little circle, and then I'll finish it off with like a little bit of the swirl. So hopefully this will make sense. So I'm about 1/4 of an inch away from the cupcake. I'm applying equal amounts of pressure, tracing the outside. Once I've completed my circle, I start another circle just a little bit up from the one I've done. I just completed another one, and I just flick it off like that. Let's do that one more time. So I start at the top, about 1/4 of an inch away. Slow, even, equal amounts of pressure. Once I've completed that circle, I just come in a tiny bit to make a smaller circle on top. I just completed the other one, and then I finish it off with one more. I did compete on Food Network's Cupcake Wars several times, so I've had my fair share of doing this swirl. And anyway, so if it takes you a minute to do it, then awesome. I promise you'll get the hang of it. It's just I've frosted thousands of cupcakes in my life. So in fact, in some of our trainings in our bakeries, we'll kind of make it fun, and we'll have little contests to see like who can do the swirl the fastest, who can frost the most amount of trays in most amount of cupcakes in 1 minute. So I promise you can do it. Okay, let me show you how to do it with the, just a couple things you can do with, this is just an open star tip. And I just took my frosting out of the round tip, and I'm just putting it in to this one. I have to remember these ones are not filled. Was just showing them how to frost. We'll get rid of that. Okay. So don't mind the little, here, you know what? Let's put some Put some sprinkles in this bad boy. Just do this. Oops. Do I still have my little belly button topper? I'll do that. Okay. I didn't want this one to feel left out, so we filled it too. And if you want to just continue that same look, you can do the same thing where you do your start on the outside, do your circle, come in, do another one, go like that. But if you reverse it and you start in the center, got this. You start in the center and build out from the center, it's actually going to look like a flower. See that? See how it looks so different if you just start in the center and build out, as opposed to starting on the outside and working your way in. So this is kind of a cool little thing to keep in your back pocket. Okay, how are we on time? Are we doing okay? We're about halfway.
Doing well, Megan. We're about halfway through. We have a
Okay,
couple questions
awesome.
on your buttercream frosting. Do you have a special recipe?
I do, and I'm happy to share it with you guys. I can email it over to Michael's, and they, if there's a magical way on the interwebs that Michael's can help get it out there to you guys, then I'd be happy to share it with you. I think we can just upload it into the this YouTube that they'll be posting.
Oh, that would be great.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Awesome. Okay. So we're going to move to the meltables. And let me just grab a few things. So what I have here, I just have a just a little like jelly roll pan. It's like a quarter sheet size. And I have, excuse me, I have some parchment paper. And I just put the parchment paper into the sheet pan. And then I'm going to take some meltables and I'm just going to put them, let's see, I'll show you two different ways. You can just put them into the bag. You don't need very much for what I'm about to show you. And I'm just going to zip them in the microwave for about, initially for about 30 seconds. And then I'm going to take them back out. And then I'm just going to kind of give them a squeeze and see how they've done. And probably pop them back in. But so I'm just setting it for about, let's see. So we'll let them just soften. And like I was saying earlier, they're really, really, really easy to work with. What's awesome about these is they're technically not like chocolate, and which is totally fine, because if we were using like actual legit 100% chocolate, we'd have to go through the tempering process, which is really technical and can be a little bit tricky. So the fact that we can just use these in the microwave and they're really user friendly is so awesome, because not all of us can be like actual chocolatiers. So I hope that you guys find that as an added benefit to using these. So you can see I just put them in there for about 30 seconds and they did melt up quite a bit. It's still a little bit chunky, so I'm going to go ahead and put it in for about 15 seconds more. And I should say on the back of the meltables, the instructions, it essentially says like to microwave them for about a minute. And I, especially with the meltables, I just tend to start at a lower time, because I know that, you know, every microwave is a little bit different. And I would rather err on the side of doing, you know, 30 second or 40, you know, 30 second and 15 second interval, as opposed to like keeping them in too long and then potentially running the risk of them seizing and kind of burning. So you can just kind of baby step into getting to know how the meltables work in your microwave. But I promise regardless that they're really simple and fun to work with. And the great thing is that once they've dried and set up, you can just put them back into an airtight bag, and you can use them again and again and again until they're gone. So, okay, so here is just some of the red meltables in this disposable pastry bag. And I'm just gonna cut about 1/4 of an inch off of this pastry bag. And that's gonna mean that we're gonna have a really fine drizzle that comes out. So I just thought it'd be fun to kind of do some abstract, like firework looking topper. So we'll just kind of do some fun squiggles and some fun shapes, maybe some stars, and you know, I'll garnish them with some sprinkles, and they'll set up, and then we can use them to decorate our surprise cupcakes. So here you can just do, let's see, my blocking. Okay. So let's see if we did kind of do some, just kind of some like loop-de-loos, and do some, I'm going to come back with some other colors on top of that one. Am I blocking? Okay. Sorry, I'm trying to make sure that I'm not blocking too much of what you guys can see, but here's like a star. You can kind of give it a little bit of a tap and flatten out the, let's see. Like that. Let's do another one. Okay, so on these ones, you know, I would just go ahead and add like, here's some sprinkles. So cute. Okay, I'm gonna melt some of the blue. Do we have, oh, here we go. Some blue, and then I'll come back. I'll do a little bit more red, just some kind of like random squigglies to show you how those can work out as well. Oops. Okay, so with this, you kind of do like, I'm gonna go like this. I know it looks kind of crazy right now, but I'll come back with some other colors. And then again, it'll just be kind of like an abstract little doodad that we put on top of the cupcake. Let's see how our blue's doing. Let's see, I think we got it. So since I knew, you know, kind of got to know the microwave, I just went ahead and put them in for about 30 seconds. And it just melted right up. So we can come back with our blue. And then take some the stars and just adding some sprinkles to our, you keeping up, Jordan? Like kind of all over the place with some of this, and Jordan's doing awesome. So see how there's really kind of like no rhyme or reason. I'm just, you know, just kind of doodling. It's just kind of fun. Some people like to draw with pens and markers, and I like to draw with edible things. That's just great. Okay. So Macy, do you mind taking, so once at this point, depending upon like your room temperature, I would recommend putting this into the fridge for like ideally you know, I mean, depending on how thick you, like thick of a decoration you make, I would say that about 10 to 15 minutes, it should be like completely set up. And so you can have it set up in the fridge. If you kind of keep your room at about, 72-ish degrees, it should be fine if you just left it out, and it could set up on its own. But because we're under these like bright lights, I'm gonna have Macy take it back and plop it in the fridge for a few minutes. I'm just gonna add another blue star. And so again, what's so awesome about the Meltables is that they're so easy to use. They set up on, on their own, and you can use them until they're all the way gone. You can reheat them, and they're awesome. They're so great. All right. Thank you, dear. And then I'll just ask you to grab them out here in a few. So, okay. One other thing I was going to show you. Let's see. So I just was going to show you another fun thing that you can do with some of the sprinkles and with the frosting. And ideally, I would have showed you right away when we did these like fun ones that are filled with the sprinkles and the candy. But since I have some extras that are unfrosted, I'm going to go ahead and refrost some of them and then use the sprinkles at that point, because what happens is with buttercream, it kind of sets up like pretty quickly. And so right now, here, I'll show you. If I tried to add sprinkles to the cupcake right now, they're going to bounce right off. I mean, maybe they'll stick in a little crevice or two, but you see that it won't stay on because it's not tacky anymore and it's dried. There's like a little thin crust that has formed. So I'm going to show you when that's not the case, how different life can be. So let's see, and I'm going to use the round one, a little partial to the round guy. Okay, now I'm going to do our signature swirl again. I'll go slow. So we're doing our full circle, complete it, come in just a teeny bit until you complete your other one, and then come in one more time and kind of just flick off the top. So this is just a really simple thing. If you have your sprinkles in a little bowl, all I'm going to do is hold the sprinkles right here, and then I'm going to kind of lightly roll the edges of the cupcake into the sprinkles. So you kind of give it like this cool little rim. So see? Looks a little patriotic and wild, huh? You can also just straight up dunk. I'll do this. You can just do dip the whole thing in, and just coat the whole top. So see, and let's do one more with these cute stars. Let's see, we'll try. We'll just kind of do that little edge technique again. Oops. So fun. Okay. So again, nothing like, nothing super earth-shattering, but you definitely can get a bunch of different looks with just like a few simple techniques. And then obviously you could, you can put these on the top, but just kind of that fun, like outer ridge is a fun look for sure. And then I'll show you one other thing we can do with the meltables. And in this case, I'm actually going to melt here. I'm going to melt the whole little bowl. And I'm going to show you how we can dunk the top of the cupcake into the meltables to kind of create like a cool candy coating to the cupcake. Let's see. Okay, does anyone have any questions at this point? Are we good?
We are good at the moment. Thank you.
Okay, yeah, you're welcome. And just while our meltables are melting, I'm just taking a moment to kind of clean my station. And again, the instructions on the back of the bag for the meltables say to microwave them at like 50% for a minute. I just did them for 30 seconds, and I'll show you. In this microwave, they definitely, definitely are melting, but there's still going to be a little bit of chunks in there. So I'm going to pop it back in for about 15 seconds, actually, just because I don't want to do it too much. And I'll give it a stir, but I think we'll be okay here. I'm tempted to show you right away opening one, but we'll wait till we put all the garnishes on and we can see it in its glory, all of its glory. Oops. All right. Okay. So yeah, so see how just like creamy and smooth that is? That was about 45 seconds. So you can just take the cupcake and kind of similarly to what we just did, kind of roll it a little bit into the meltables. And then I just kind of give it like a little tap, kind of have it fall around the rims of the cupcake. And then the meltables are actually really fun to use on ice cream too. Just because it, like an ice cream cone, you can kind of dip it and let it set up in the freezer for a minute. That's kind of fun, right? So, okay. Macy, do you mind grabbing the toppers? Okay, Macy's gonna go grab the toppers for us. And we are going to put one together and then cut it open and see all the fun that is inside. So let's see. I would say in order of operation, if I were doing this like not in a teaching environment, I would probably make the toppers first, let them set up, and have them ready to use as your garnish right after you've done your frosting. Again, this is already kind of set up, and some of these I'll definitely be able to just kind of wedge into the frosting, but it's just a little easier when the frosting's still kind of wet to put in your toppers then, so that when it does dry, it kind of dries around the meltables. So thank you so much. And I mean, I guess you could argue that you would want to keep your decorating a little minimal on these ones because the inside is just, so cool. But, it's like just a little unassuming cupcake, and then you open it and it's so fun. But it's also, it's also fun just to make it like over the top. So you can see, I just literally just peeled this and picked it up. So it's like this great setup, little star. And you can see these other guys, just peel them off. Oops. and they just set up, and yeah, it's awesome. So I'm just going to jam that kind of down into the cup with the cupcake. Oops, sorry, I took it off of view. Let's set that guy aside. We'll take this guy, and we can either set it on top like that, or set it straight up. Just kind of jam it in. And then let's take this. Let's see how kind of one of these little. I mean, if I'm at a barbecue and there's one, I'm grabbing this one because that's fun. That looks fun and crazy. Let's see, we'll just add this for funsies. So, and you can see sometimes, like you could even make a full sheet of something that looks like this, and then you can break it into pieces. See how simple it just snaps apart. And I know these ones, again, these ones aren't filled, but can just wedge it in. Just make, and it's like the simplest, easiest way to make something festive and decorative is just to use the meltables with a little decoration like this and jam it in onto the top. So, okay, should we cut one open and see the fun? What angle do you think will be best? Just right here. Okay, I'm gonna just move these guys out of the way. And let's hope that I that I remembered which ones were filled. So, let's see, maybe I'll go like this so you can see the, oops, see the guts. That one was anticlimactic. Let's try again. Hold on, please. All right. Clean my knife. Let's see. Which way do you think I show it this way? Don't know how to make it so you guys get a good angle of the spillage. Can you see? Yeah? Okay. So fun, right? Okay, let's try the last one that had the little bit of like the dehydrated marshmallows and the little baking chips in it. Let's do. Oops. So, I don't know if I'm. So yay. So again, oh, that's a fun shot. That looks fun and delicious and messy and awesome. So again, I hope that you can see that these are really, really simple techniques. It just takes a little bit of prepping and planning to make sure that you have, you know, whatever it is that you want to fill your cupcake with, and that you have some frosting prepared or some frosting bought. Again, the meltables are so fun to play with, and you can just let your imagination run wild and draw and drizzle and doodle whatever you want with the meltables out of a piping bag. And you can make just such fun, delicious things. And yeah, I hope I answered everyone's questions, and I hope you have a fun and safe 4th of July. And again, just thank you so much for coming and taking time out of your busy day to play with me. So keep your eyes peeled, because I do have a few more classes coming up in the near future, and I hope to see you guys then.
Thanks, Megan.
Thank you.
Bye.